Good afternoon, Steve. Yes, Happy New Year to you too, and happy Friday.
Yes, it's good to see you again and have a chat with you. And so, um, I thought we had talked last time about getting together and maybe having more of a conversation about what you and I were chatting about the importance of self-discovery and career exploration. And so, after we sort of chatted about it and you thought about and reflected upon it, what do you think career exploration and self-discovery means to you?
Self discovery, in my mind, can help lead to meaningful career exploration. I think without self discovery, a person risks ending up on a career path that doesn't bring value to their life. I know for me, I was raised on the mentality of whatever education or work experience you have paves the path of your career. So basically, because I did data entry and work experience in high school and don't have post secondary education, I'm doomed to do data entry for eternity. Self discovery, on the other hand, is the idea that no, my skills, interests, and hobbies have value and can be used to pursue a career in something that I have passion for, something that I actually enjoy. I also think that that knowledge can bring you down, though, because it creates the stigma in your brain that tells you, okay, that's great, but you're 30 years old. You're too old to just change career path. It's a toxic mentality and a very untrue mentality, which is shown throughout history. Colonel Sanders founded Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was in his 60s.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree, and I think so. What do you think when you go through a process of self-discovery? What do you uncover about yourself? What do you discover about you?
So I didn't really know about self discovery until I was introduced to Gateway Association. But when I started doing it, what I realized and what I learned is that I'm really interested in producing, filmmaking, media production, that sort of thing.
Do you remember when you and I were spending a bit of time working on True Colors?
Yeah,
What did you discover about yourself? Did you find True Colors a valuable tool for self-discovery?
I thought it was an interesting resource, and I learned that I really enjoy working with and helping others.
Yeah, definitely. I remember when we were doing True Colors, I truly think that that's exactly who you are, right?
Yeah.
Your career path should always be aligned with providing service to others in whatever capacity.
I think that's why I enjoy content creation so much. Because it allows me to provide education and entertainment to a wide audience.
Yeah, good. Good. And that's another piece of career exploration, self-discovery. Just that statement that you gave, the fact that you can apply it in other areas,
Yeah.
is good. That's good for you. I mean, that kind of shows me that you're able to transfer your skills and your strengths and your passions to a variety of different careers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
80% of the repertoire of our skills and strengths can be transferred from one work environment to another. Think about that, 80%. So the 20% only involves very specific skill sets, like someone that works in the dental hygiene industry and cleans your teeth.
Yeah.
But that's the 20% piece. So why do you think it's important for people who identify as having a disability? What do you think that's involved? Like what is that? Why is it important?
From my own experience, I can tell you that being placed in a job that you aren't passionate about can lead you to start feeling like your life has no purpose, no meaning. You wake up, go to work, go home, sleep, and repeat. Being placed in the wrong job led me to burnout. I had great coworkers, I had great supervisors and managers, but because I wasn't passionate about what I was doing, I burnt out. Self discovery allows you to find those skills that you have and use them to help you get a job doing something that you care about. I find it interesting how employers will hire a person with a bachelor's degree and snub the person who is passionate and has skills doing that job. A degree doesn't always mean passion. It does for some, obviously. However, for some people, they go to school and get a degree just because they need a job, not necessarily because they're passionate about it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, I think. Do you think
And
so if someone was to get you a job, well, somebody did get you a job as data entry and that was wrong, but do you think for a lot of those people that get jobs that they're just not really suited for and they end up failing, do you think that has more of a significant impact on someone with a disability than someone who doesn't have a disability?
I definitely do. I mean, I don't want to speak for all people with disabilities, but for some of us, we've been told all our lives that we can't do certain things or aren't capable of doing certain things. So, because of that, failing at something increases that insecurity, that mindset of, oh, that person was right when they said I couldn't do this. And I think that's true with education as well. I mean, I've gone to post secondary and I've failed more times than I'd like to admit. And every single time, it's made me feel down on myself and like I'm not capable of doing post secondary. Even though I don't necessarily think that that's true, and I think it has more to do with issues within the system than it has to do with me. And I think we need to look at doing things differently.
Yeah, you know what? I totally agree with you on that. I actually think it's time to make some significant changes and um, something I always worry about. And I've had the same experience too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've gone to school and taken courses where they're absolutely have no functional use in my life, but I need to take them because that's what the school authority said I needed to do,
Yep,
right?
yep, absolutely.
Because if you and I sit back and think of some of the best teachers we've had or some of the best courses we've ever taken, it wasn't so much about the content, it was the experience that we remember that's positive,
Yep,
right? So
yep.
that statement kind of leads me to ask the next question is let's talk about your experience at school because you always talk about in such a positive way how important it was. Can you share that a little bit?
I think in terms of it being a positive experience, I would say yes and no. Yes, in that high school helped me find my voice. It showed me that I am capable of things and helped me build relationships. No, in that the emphasis was put solely on career development. They never really asked what our interests and hobbies were as a way to help us build on those skills, as a way to find a meaningful career. I think technology and our understanding of what is possible has gotten so much bigger, so much better. There's so many more opportunities out there than when I was in school. I think there's value in education as long as you're placing a high value on self discovery.
Okay. What about your when you interacted or engaged, socialized with people, and what was your experience like with teachers?
In terms of self discovery, I don't think that any of them really pushed me to discover things about myself. I didn't really have any teachers that were like, you can do whatever you want to do. But I think at least the teachers in my high school taught me to believe in myself and to be a strong advocate. They taught me how to advocate for the things that I wanted in my life.
Sometimes I think the reason why a lot of people are unhappy in their lives is because um, they sort of created a picture of themselves that isn't really accurate, and they've been told that you need to do this because you'd be really good at this or you'd be really good at
Yeah,
that, and that
yeah,
isn't their passion. And then when they actually invest school and time and everything else into that career and it doesn't make them happy, I think then that's where the anxiety comes in, the depression, right? It's like, I'm supposed
a
to be
hundred
happy,
percent.
but I'm not.
Yeah,
And they can't figure out why.
yeah, exactly. It's like I was saying before about the employer that hires the person with the degree over the person with passion. I don't understand how that makes sense from a business standpoint. I mean, if you're an employer, you want employees that are passionate. You want employees that care about your business as much as you do and want to help make it bigger and better.
No, I
So,
agree with you on that too. Passion goes a long way. And when you
yeah,
have passion, you can overcome a lot of obstacles and barriers, right?
absolutely.
How do you think your involvement with Gateway Employment Services helped? Can you sort of talk a little
Um,
bit about that? What was best practices on, if you could say
yeah,
this is a good
so
example of best practices?
in all honesty, I think had I not been introduced to Gateway, I would still not understand self discovery. And I'd probably be doing some office job that I hated. It's because of Gateway and because of the value it places on self discovery that I even started thinking about it differently. The world's not your oyster. The world is your buffet table. Follow your passion, follow your dream, because life's too short to live it any other way. I've been thinking about that mentality a lot lately, and I think it's so true. Life's not your oyster. If you look at an oyster is tiny. Life is your buffet table, where you can pick from a limitless array of skills, hobbies, and interests, and choose the ones that you're passionate and enthusiastic about.
I often say, uh, um, your life is not a destination, it's a journey, right? So for me, life is either a daring adventure or it's no adventure at all. And what makes it daring is having that belief, just like you talk about, is about how I can do anything I want if I put my mind to it, and I'm going to do the things that I'm really passionate about. That to me, that's being true to yourself. And
100%.
I think it was John Lennon from the Beatles
Yep.
once said, if you can't be someone else, just try being yourself.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think that's a good thing to think about, right? That's the whole part. That's the importance of self-discovery, is discovering who you are, not who people think you should be or who you think you should be, but who you are right at this moment. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It's everything, right? It's a whole meal deal. There's lots of times that I've used my idiosyncrasies, or sometimes people say they're faults in my character. I use those as my superpowers. Yeah. Can you imagine you and I working in a job where we weren't allowed to talk to people at all day, and we had to be quiet and just look at a computer?
No, no, definitely not. I mean, I was kind of in that situation. I mean, not that I wasn't allowed to talk to people, but I certainly stared at a computer screen all day.
Yeah. No, I would die 1,000 deaths, my friend.
There's another part of that too. Something that I found as a person with a disability looking at that job. I don't think I've shared this with you before, but there was a part of my brain that was like, they're making me do data entry because they don't think that I'm capable of doing something with more value. And even though my supervisors and managers were amazing, there was still part of my brain that kept saying that. You know?
Yeah. No, no, you know what? That's exactly how people would think, right? And I mean, I've seen it before, right? When you do that to people, they think, well, this person's only good at moving these numbers into this space, and that's about it. They don't have the capacity to problem solve or anything. So good. Well, thanks. Thanks for getting together with me.
Of
Um,
course, thank you so much. Thank you so much to Stephen Wright from Gateway Association for taking the time to have this important conversation with me. And thank you so much to all of you who took the time to listen. Steve and I would love to hear your thoughts, so please feel free to leave them below. Gateway Association is an incredible organization with offices in both Calgary and Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. They are an employment and family resource center that offers support to those with family members who live with disabilities and people with disabilities. I have had the pleasure of being involved with Gateway for nearly a decade. The passion and enthusiasm with which the employees work is truly incredible. Their values, forward thinking approach, and commitment to helping those they support is like nothing I've come across before. If you'd like to learn more about Gateway Association and the amazing work they do, please check out their website at gatewayassociation.ca. The link will be in the description of this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.